Spaceman with Guns here, once again back for a weekly update on how I've been coming along, getting my armor ready for hashtag About With The Route. Pretty good week so far. I think we're up to week 9, I think is what this is. So let's dive on it. So literally 2 minutes ago, I finished black rimming the bases for the rotor cannon squad, so they're 100% done. Threw some pigments on them, fixed those in place, and then of course had to black rim them because you have to black rim bases. Don't have to, but can't use clear. See, you can see the paint is still wet. But yeah, so they are done. Awesome. So one more thing done, 100%, marked off the list. Next thing we've been working on, of course, the Forge Lord, the Iron Father conversion. I don't remember how much I actually talked about this in the last one, but so far it's been coming along pretty well. Got all the base coats, highlights, shadows on. You can see that. Edge highlights are done. Started working on the skin tone on his face, and all of the bits and pieces that need to be silver are done. So I decided to go with the silver trim, kind of keeping in line with the Iron Father motif going on. It's got some great detail, like the cog trim on here, and then there's some here. Looks really cool. I thought that would look cool in silver instead of gold. So that's coming along pretty well. Starting to look pretty good. The next thing we have here is the shoulder pads for the Forge Lord. Again, it's got that cool gear motif. Painting those red. You can see a nice little variation in the color there. That actually kind of happened a little bit by accident. I primed it black, like I prime everything black. Then I gave it the base coat of Forge World Gall Vorback red. Beautiful color. It actually ended up getting a lot of modulation out of that I didn't intend. So I decided to just go with it. It was much more translucent than I was expecting. I was expecting to be a lot more opaque. So I just instead of putting on a second coat, just ran with it and then started shading it up with some brighter colors of red. I think I went with Vallejo's Scab Red. No. Scarlet Red, and then finished it off with some, sorry guys, Scorn Red from P3. So got that done. That looks pretty cool, and because of the posing of the arms, decided to do it where it was the highest. So on his other one here, you can see that big main highlight sort of in the middle there. Pretty cool. So that's coming along nicely. I'm trying to work on like 3 different projects at the same time here. So that's the Forge Lord coming along pretty well. Then we've got the Scimitar jet bikes. I've got 2 of them in progress right now. I'll grab the other one real quick, so you guys can see this. So this is where this one's at. I did the bottom first, so now that's dry. I'll paint the top. Whereas this one, painted the top first, so do the bottom. Base coat, shadow, highlight, edge highlight. So those are all ready to go. So I'm working on the other colors now. Earlier this week, actually managed to do both of the middle portions. See, I got the seat detail there. The heat stressing, that's always fun to do. So I got that done on both of them. Looks pretty cool. I think I used Phthalax Gold, purple ink, blue ink, and then black on those. And you can see kind of the different bands in there. Give it a pretty nice, heat treat look to it. Not sure which one this one goes with. Not important right now. So yeah, those are coming along well. They'll go along nicely with my other one, which I need to rework a little bit. So here's the one that I already have built. I did this about 1.5 years ago for the grand opening of Warhammer Merle Hay. You can do a little bit of glowing, but you can see that one's done. This one was actually modeled as a Praetor on a jet bike, so that's why he's got the power sword and all that goodness. Need to give him a new helmet, new head, because I modeled it up as the fancy Ultramarines one from Forge World. Decided I just wanted to give him a regular helmet. And then it's also got the gold trim here on the front and on the back, which I decided to forego on the regular one. So this is just going to be a sergeant, so he needs a new helmet that's going to be red. He's got the power sword, so that's still okay. I also need to do a new shoulder pad because I had the chapter master, company master insignia on the other one. Easy stuff, won't be hard at all to do. But yeah, so then I'll have a squad of 3 Scimitar jet bikes, which will be pretty cool. They've also got pretty cool bases. They've got big bases, so it gives you a lot to do. So you can really kind of tell a narrative with it, which is the fun thing about basing. And then, of course, as always, the ASRAM has been worked on every single day. That one's getting worked on a lot because that one's got the most to do. Whereas, like the Iron Father, excuse me, the Forge Lord and the jet bikes, they don't have as much to do. So it's like basically work on the Cestus and then pick one of the other 2 to just kind of pick out little bits and pieces here and there. So starting out with the center section here, I had to even out some. There's a big old lip in here. So hit that with a fair amount of green stuff, level that out, some sanding. So that works pretty well. Also holes so that I can mount all the wiring for the lighting. I decided I'm probably going to actually start doing a separate series on how to build the Cestus and how I'm going to light it, just kind of as a instructional or tutorial kind of thing. So once I've got everything ready that I can actually start gluing things together, I'll probably start production on that. But basically I've got like 3 1/4-inch holes. I think these are 1/4-inch. This one goes all the way through. I drilled up from where the base is, and then this is actually going to be covered by the little rocket booster. So that one goes all the way back to meet up with this one. Because these holes can't go forward too much, because otherwise they'll be in the actual crew compartment, and I want to be able to hide as much of this as I can. So I had to drill this one here, which meets back with this one, and cross bisects with this one here. So basically, this is just like access. So I'm going to feed the wires in through here, go down to this channel back here, and then I'm going to pull it through this one. And then I'm going to run wires back and forth through this one from one boom to the other, so I can tie them all together and basically just have one lead going down to the 2-pin connector that's going to sit in this base. And when I get onto the other video series, it'll make more sense. The other thing that I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to change the flight stand, because this is the stock flight stand. What I'm actually probably going to do is cut it off maybe about here, bore out in the middle so I can put a piece of brass tubing, something fairly substantial, because this is going to weigh quite a bit once it's put together. And then I'll actually just run the wiring up through there, because you can see here I tried to bore that out so that I could actually put the connector in there, but it's bigger than I thought it was. So that's not working so well. It's becoming somewhat unstable. If I could get this in here for you guys. Jesus Christ, George. Are you that? Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit too much play. Yeah, I mean, it comes off pretty easily that way. I'm going to get a fairly substantial piece of brass rod that I can run up in there and then run the wiring through there that'll hold it fairly well. So that is going on. Almost ready to start assembly, but not quite. And then just a couple of days ago, started painting the interior here. So primed everything black, and then did a pre-shade with white, which you can kind of tell you get a little bit of variation in the color here. I'll see if I can hold it up so you guys see a little better. These supports here actually stick out a lot further than the other side, so I actually only needed to paint the first 3, because once the halves are closed up together, you can't see these 3 back here. So yeah, weathered it up pretty well, just some sponge chipping, a little bit of MIG. I think it's actually a dark brown wash for green vehicles. That's what I used. That was, of course, after I gloss coated it. It has also been flat coated as well. See, here's the other side. You can see here, I'm going to hold this up so you guys can see a little bit better. So yeah, went in, did all of these with actually black metal is what I used for this. And then, of course, these got a wash of just a black wash and then a dry brush. Actually, a couple of different dry brushes. I went over it with gunmetal and then with a brighter aluminum tone. I also did the deck here pretty well. You guys can see that, a lot of sponge chipping and washed all through the whole thing, just to give it that good worn look. Assembling this with the lighting is actually going to be a tad. It's going to be interesting. I don't want to say difficult yet, but it's going to be interesting. You can see here I also bored out that hole that corresponds with the hole here. So basically I think what I'm going to end up doing is assembling just the inner half of both of these booms, get the wiring attached to the top of the boom, because that's where the light is, and then work out all of that, glue those up together. Just one other thing I need to point out. Oh yeah, there should actually be a bulkhead that goes back here, kind of slots in right here. That didn't come with this when I got it. Now, I actually mocked up a couple out of just some sheet stock. You can see here, and you can see I kind of scribed that out to scribe those out to give them some little bit of definition. But that just kind of slots in here like that. It looks kind of like a door. Phil from Rose of Terra podcast is actually going to look, because he said he didn't use his. He was going to look for his and see if he could find them, because I posted a couple of trade sell boards for Heresy stuff that I needed them. So he was going to look into it and let me know, because I'd kind of rather use the actual kit part instead of just something I made myself. But if he can't come through, then I've got those ready. I'm just going to put like a little hole in the top here so I can run the wiring through. Be pretty simple. The other thing that I kind of needed to address was the doors. These still need to be painted, because these will have to go in when I assemble the rest of the halves. Actually cut off the pins that go in here. And you can see this one's kind of bowed a little bit. What I'm actually going to do, and this is an idea I got from one of the guys that works at my local hobby shop, and I've kind of already started experimenting with it. You can see there's a little bit of brass tubing in there. Let's see if I can't. Maybe I can get it out, maybe I can't. It's starting to come out. But basically what I'm going to do is make a hinge using brass tubing now. So I cut a short piece out of there, because one of the problems with the Cestus is you can't ever get the doors to actually line up right the way they're supposed to, and it just looks kind of goofy when they're all cockeyed. Same thing would happen with mine if I did that with it the way it was, because the doors were kind of, or the halves of the booms aren't flush, they're not square. So you can see, okay, so there's that piece that's going to go in the hole, and then this piece will be screwed in or cut and put into the door. We'll slot into that, put the other side on, slot it in there. I'll have a nice good hinge. And then magnetize it at the top, obviously. So that'll be pretty cool. Actually have like a real hinge. So that'll be cool. So yeah, I think tonight, if I decide to get back to it, I just got a couple more of these to paint on the other side, and then start weathering, and be good to go. Then we're going to be pretty close to starting assembly and starting to get the wires working. So yeah, that's the plan for this week, is still continue with the Forge Lord, the jet bikes, and the Cestus, the SRAM. I'm really excited to keep hammering away at this. I know it hasn't seemed like I've gotten very far, but it's just been a lot of cleanup, a lot of just grinding off super glue, getting this all evened out on both sides, just so things fit better. But I think it's going to be pretty cool. The build's not going to be perfect. There's just absolutely no way. Absolutely no way. I don't know if it's the cast. There's just some of the stuff left over from the previous build. But I'm going to do everything I can to make it damn close. So I think it's going to look pretty good. And I think the lighting's going to look, make it definitely give it a boost. So that has been this last week. And so yeah, I'm hoping to have some pretty good stuff next week. The only problem is tier season starts next weekend. So that's going to eat up some time. So, but more than willing to go out there and try and shoot a deer. So thanks for watching, guys. Once again, always let me know what's on your mind. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.